today. That is a topic that almost everybody hates because, well, it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of frustrating. We make sure that everybody's seeing what they're supposed to see. They are not. So let's make sure we got our stuff together. Showing screen. There we go. Showing the wrong screen. Wow, let's get off to a great start today, Rich. What do you say? All right, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and do a shout out to our sponsors today. We've got Demand IQ, Engage, G4 Marketing, Heavy Set. We're going to talk about them in just a second. But before we do that, we want to get to the poll, which we've already done. Let me tell you what the poll said. The poll said that 17% of you said that you are doing great with pay-per-click. 50%, and this is what I would have expected. 50% said the results are okay, but not great. 13% said that you used to do pay-per-click, but you gave up because it wasn't working. And 17% said, nope, never done it. Interested to learn more. I did have 4% that said you're doing it, but really considering quitting. So that was our poll results. And we'll see if we can learn a little bit about pay-per-click here. I think you're going to be interested to find out a few things from me today. It is a love-hate relationship. A lot of people are either getting poor pay-per-click results or they have quit altogether, as we just saw in our poll. Others are running it. They secretly hate it. Reality is that there's a ton of people that are searching for what you're selling on Google, and we need to be able to find a way to capture these folks. Google is the 10,000-pound gorilla in search, 99,000 searches per second. That's about 8.5 billion per day. We can get silly with this math here, 2 trillion per year, and it keeps going up. And you might think, well, geez, isn't AI eating into that? And the answer is, yeah, of course, AI is eating into that. But for local search, Google still is and will very likely continue to be the leader, because what we're finding with AI is that it is used as a different kind of tool than a search for a local company. So also, you'll see that the AI companies are going to be introducing some kind of paid advertising in some cases, and you'll be doing some search there. Also, 46% of searches have local intent, 63% comes from mobile devices, and the market share is 91.5%. It's not going away. It may diminish over time, but even if it diminishes, you know, this is something that people say, for instance, about TV. They're like, well, TV's diminishing. Yeah, it's going to other things. The attention is shifting away from TV to other things. But here's the important thing you've got to remember when it comes to TV. And I know this is not a TV webinar. There's still people watching it. And as long as you're only paying for the ones who are there, it doesn't really matter how big the audience is. Now, over here on pay-per-click, the audience is massive. It's going to continue to be massive. It may shrink a little bit over time, but still something that needs to be in your bag. Let me give you 2 quick case studies here. A roofer near Chicago, talked to these guys recently. They were spending about $3,000 a month on pay-per-click. They did it for 3 months. They got 4 leads. They ran 2 appointments. They sold none, and they said, this sucks, and they quit. That's a pretty common story that we hear with smaller companies. Larger companies tend to have a little bit better luck because they're going to be spending enough money on it, which is something that I'll be talking about budget as we go through this webinar. Give you another case study, Northeastern Bath Remodeler. They spent just a little over $1 million last year on pay-per-click. They had 2 different agencies that were handling it. That's a problem. I'll talk about that when we go through this webinar. You definitely don't want to have 2 agencies handling your pay-per-click at the same time, because they're bidding against each other. You're just paying more for the same thing for no reason. Their cost per lead was $543 across the 2 agencies if you averaged it out, which is quite a bit. Their close rate was about 40%. But here's the problem. They have what's called a black box agency, which is another thing I'm going to get into as we go through this. A black box agency is one that is not letting you see what's happening other than how many leads you're getting. There's a big problem with that. And that means that they're almost certainly overpaying by 30 to 70%. We're running a test right now. I'll tell you about it as we get into this webinar. But they're really looking for a better solution. realistically, these guys got about 1,900 leads, I believe, if you do the math on that. Let me do the math on that. It was 1.03 million divided by 543. Yeah, right at 1,900 leads. So here's what we're hoping. We're hoping for the same $1 million in spend that they'll get far more leads, even though the spend will be the same. Okay, so if we keep this spend the same and we can get, instead of 1,900 leads, 2,500 or 3,000 leads, then that's a better deal. That's what we're aiming for here today. Now, let me tell you who I am. That's me, Rich Harshaw, good looking guy. That's what everybody says. I just go based on what they say. What we do at Level 10 Contractor, we're an elite marketing agency. I founded this about 31 years ago, been doing it for a long, long time. Started out as a general marketing consultant, had my first big remodeling client in 1996, was a $50 million roofing company, and then got heavily involved in remodeling and home services in 2005. So about 21 years just talking to folks exactly like you do. We've worked with some of the biggest and most successful companies in the space. Horizon Services, Service Champions. I don't know if you heard, Service Champions, current client. They're part of a bigger company called Champions Group. Just got announced last week that they were bought out by Blackstone for $2.5 billion. That's what good marketing and other things that they do well will do for you. They got about 22 brands in that family. This is one of our clients that we work with here at Contractor. Worked with 1-800-Hanson's in the past, Renewal by Anderson, both some of their corporate stores and some of their, what do they call those guys? They don't call them distributors. Anyway, they're dealers. I think that's the right word. We're an elite marketing agency. We work with companies in the range of about 5 to 20. We do work with some bigger. Our biggest client right now just did a very tiny bit over $1 billion last year in sales. $1 billion. That's our biggest client. Our smallest client probably did about $1 million. So there's the difference. If you know anything about millions and billions, you've heard this analogy before that if you look at if you took 1 million seconds, I think it's 11 days. If you took 1 billion seconds, it's like 31 years. So it's a big difference, but the sweet spot for us is $5 to $20 million companies. That's where most of our clients are. We're an elite level marketing agency. We build websites, we do SEO services, pay-per-click. What we're going to be talking about today is a big part of what we do. We also do paid social. That's going to be Facebook and Instagram mostly, but not exclusively. Do a lot of TV and radio, streaming advertising, organic social media is a big thing that we're rolling out massively in 2026. So all of these things, just giving you an idea of who we are and what we do here at Level 10 Contractor. Now, do have a daily podcast called the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. It's got over 2,300 episodes. Also, Marketing Matters. We do this alongside Qualified Remodeler. That comes out twice a month. Also, we have a YouTube channel, Level 10 Contractor. We're moving most of our podcasting over to video podcasts. So if you want to look at my mug, told you, good looking guy, you just go on there to YouTube and you can watch me talk my face off all the time. All right, let's talk very quickly about some of our sponsor partners here today. Want to let you know about these companies because these are the ones that are inviting you to join these webinars. Without these sponsors, there would not be webinars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend just about 2 minutes here giving you some information about these folks. I am going to run a second poll that allows you to express interest in learning more about these products. So here's the poll. So go ahead and click on the ones that you'd like to learn more about. You can click as many of them as you like. First one is Demand IQ. They've introduced what I call the instant estimate revolution. Most contractor websites have this option. Say, fill out a form, we'll get back to you, and that's outdated. Demand IQ turns your site into a self-serve buying experience where homeowners answer a few questions, and then they get an instant estimate right there on the page. It's a no-code platform. It's called Journeys, like the rock band, but not. It lets you build interactive quoting funnels really, really fast. Contractors that are using it are seeing more leads and higher close rates because customers don't have to wait around to find out what the pricing is. If your website still makes people wait, then you need to look at Demand IQ. So go ahead and see if you want to learn more about those guys. G4 Marketing is next. They help you turn happy customers into a constant referral and repeat business stream. They deploy structured mailers, referral reward programs, appreciation package. They send out this little jar of cookies. It's really awesome to your customers. Review generation systems. They're going to help you generate social proof for future and get repeat and referral business. The roots are in home improvement. So it's not theory, it's done for you, which is important. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'll just do that. And then they just don't ever do it. Hire these guys to do it for you. It's G4 marketing. If you're not actively leveraging your past jobs, then you need to look at G4 marketing. Next is heavy set tech. They are focusing on turning leads into booked appointments automatically. They have an AI-powered platform that instantly sends texts and emails, schedules and confirms appointments 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, keeps your calendar full, whether leads are coming from their embedded scheduler or your existing CRM. The result is that you chase less, you book more appointments, and you drop fewer opportunities. If speed to lead and follow-up consistency are issues in your operations, then you're going to want to check out heavy set tech. Just check it off on the survey there, okay? And then the last one I want to tell you about is Engage. This is an in-home sales improvement I can't talk. In-home sales for home improvement and home services. It replaces your static presentation with interactive on-brand sales tools that your reps can personalize in the home. It can have video, it have before and after slides, nonlinear navigation, which means that you can jump around unlike a PowerPoint. It also tracks how your presentations are being used so you know what's actually driving closes. If your sales team is relying on outdated sales decks, PowerPoint, or flip charts for crying out loud, then take a look at Engage. Now, I noticed that Engage has a relatively lower number of people that have checked it off on the poll. That's because I think most of you are already using it. Those guys have done a great job. They're kind of an industry standard at this point. Okay, thanks so much for participating in that and in the poll. We are now going to jump into pay-per-click, and let me go through what it is so we're all on the same wavelength here. It's a demand capture advertising method. It's not demand creation. So this is people who are already searching for the thing: roofing, siding, windows, kitchens, baths, HVAC, whatever it is. So you've just got to position yourself in front of them so that the people who are looking, and if you think about this, it makes sense. This is why our agency, Level 10 Contractor, is so interested in SEO and pay-per-click, because this is the demand, like I said, that already exists. Most people don't know who to call for a roof. It's not like Coca-Cola. You know, if the waiter comes to the table and says, what do you want to drink? You don't say, well, I don't know. Let me ask Google for reviews on which soda is the best. Oh, let's see. Pepsi, not so good. Coke, oh, better. Dr. Pepper, oh, Dr. Pepper is up and coming. I'll have a Dr. No, that's not what happens in a restaurant. But when it comes to things like roofing and siding and windows and bathrooms, nobody's ever bought this stuff before, so they don't know. They're not paying attention to anything. When they need it, they go to Google and they say, who do I get? And then Google tells them. So you've got to be there. Pay-per-click is scalable. It's not a hack. There's definitive rules that you can follow to get good results. And that's what we're going to go over today, the definitive rules, so that you know exactly what is going to work and what is not going to work. And if it's not working, it's because the rules are not being followed. Almost every single case. It's a business accelerator. It's not a fixer, okay? Here's what pay-per-click is not. It is not a magic lead faucet. It is not a branding shortcut. It is not a set it and forget it kind of a thing, which is how most of you that are not getting good results are using it. We'll get into that a little bit later. It is a replacement. It's not a replacement for identity, sales, or operations. Again, this is taking demand that's already there and just putting yourself in front of it so it hits you in the face and you can't miss it, okay? Now, the 4 reasons for failure, we'll go through them in detail. Let me just put them on the screen. Number 1, hyper competition. Number 2, ignoring quality score. That's a massive one, which is caused by number 3, underfunding campaigns, and also number 4, lazy or incompetent agencies. We're going to spend more time on number 4 than we are on 1, 2, and 3 combined, because it is typically the source of all of your problems. And I'm going to walk you through about 6 or 7 different elements there, and you're going to go, oh, okay, that makes sense now. So let's go to number 1 and just kind of get into it here. Number 1 is hyper competition. It's not like you're the first person that ever thought, hey, maybe if we ran an ad on Google, we could get in front of some of that demand. That's not a unique thought. I don't know how long pay-per-click has been out there, but my guess is it's about 20-something years. So this is not new. Everybody's doing it, and everybody's bidding on the exact same keywords, which is also a problem. Roof repair near me, replacement windows, okay? If you're fighting 30 to 100 other local and national companies, which you are, you're going to get lost in the mix. So you've got to make sure that you use strategies that help you navigate around this competition issue. And the way that you're going to do that is with your quality score and the way that you set up your campaigns, which is what I'm going to cover here today. Now, just a little note. I'm not really here to give you a tutorial on here's how you do it. I'm trying to give you a 30,000 and then maybe a 15,000 foot view of here's the principles that make pay-per-click work, okay? This is not going to be detailed enough for you to go and quote unquote do it yourself, but it is going to give you enough information to realize where you and or your agency may have been doing it quote unquote, let's say wrong or under optimized. Here's some brutal numbers from 2026. Home services, the clicks are $7.85 to $35 plus per click. Remodeling, $15 to $50 plus per click, not per lead, per click, okay? That's a lot of money. Average lead cost can be $150 to $300 if you do this right, but if you do it wrong, you're looking at $500 to $1,000 plus, and this is where a lot of you just kind of you got your arm up behind your back, you cry uncle, and you say, oh geez, I can't live with this cost per lead, and you quit. And then you start to wonder, is it because it's too competitive? Is it because we're doing it wrong? Is it because there's just not enough demand on there? What is the reason? And we're gonna answer that question today. Cost per click, CPC, cost per click, rose 87% of markets last year. That's according to Google's own statistics. I mean, this is a thing, all right? So can you still win? Yes. You got to stop fighting the same 10 to 20 keywords is the first thing that you got to do. It doesn't mean you can't be competing for those keywords, but you've got to expand beyond just that. Switch to hyper-local long-tail searches. Hyper-local means not just Dallas-Fort Worth, but specifically McKinney, specifically Plano, specifically Southlake, Colleyville, Roanoke, and any other specific city that you want to be in. And then longer tail searches, instead of just replacement windows, you can get into vinyl replacement windows or fiberglass replacement windows or other keyword, long tail keywords that Google suggests. And that's the funny thing about this. Google is right there suggesting all of this stuff, but you've got to actually take the suggestion, okay? Now, you can win if you obsess over your quality score. You've got to get up to a 9 or 10 out of 10. I'm going to show you that here on the next reason as we go through this presentation. So hang on for just a second. We're going to cover it in detail. It's going to cut your cost per click by 50 to 80% and double your leads. I want you to think about this right now. If you could cut your cost per click by 50 to 80% and double your leads, would that be worthwhile? The answer obviously is yes. You've got to spend the right amount of money. Underfunding campaigns is a massive issue. We'll talk about that also in just a minute. And then managing your campaign properly, which includes your quality score and your spend. But those are the things that we're going to talk about in detail as we go through the rest of this presentation. So let's go to number 2, which is the quality score. Now, I'm trying to thread the needle here between getting too nerdy and into the weeds, but also I want you to understand what this is and why it's so important. So here's what a quality score is. Google's going to score every keyword from 1 to 10. It's very simple. It's a very simple program. Most remodelers scores average 5 to 7, which means you're about average. And if you're about average, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get average results. Silently is going to make every click more expensive. If you can get up from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, it's going to cut the cost per click by 15 to 25% per incremental number that goes up. So if you can get up into the 9 and 10 range, that's where, if you go back to my previous slide, I think it was 50 to 80% reduction in cost per click. You've got to get that quality score up. 9 to 10 is very, very good. It's going to change everything for you. This is what you need to be focusing on. Now, how is it determined is the next logical question. Well, Google uses precisely 3 factors, and it's not a mystery. This is not one of those black box secrets that nobody knows. We know exactly what it is. First of all is the expected click-through rate, CTR, click-through rate. And here's what Google is trying to determine. Will people actually click on your ad? Now, that's going to be a function of how good the ad is. And then also we've got to look at the ad relevance. Does the ad match the search? You say, well, that's obvious, Rich. Well, yeah, it's kind of obvious. And also we see it done wrong all the time. We see ads for um, windows that land on a general remodeling page, or even worse, on a roofing page, things like that, which leads us to the next thing, which is the landing page. Is it fast? Is it helpful? If you listen to me talk about marketing very much, then you're going to know there's a concept called identity, who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what people can expect when they do business with you. You've got to make sure that you give people reasons to want to do business with you. Okay, so let's set the stage. We got to just pause here for a minute and let's step back. And I want you to just think for a second. Don't look at the slides. Just close your eyes and think for a minute. Unless you're driving, then that would be stupid. Don't close your eyes. I want you to think. Remember what I said earlier? The overwhelming majority of people that are looking for whatever it is that you sell, they've never bought it before. They don't know, not only do they not know who to buy it from, they don't even know what the standards are that they should be looking at and expecting when doing business with this kind of a company. Why? Again, because it's not freaking Coke. It's a window. They never bought one. So not only do you need your ad to show up, not only do you need your ad to be clicked through a lot and need it to be relevant and need your landing page to be consistent with the ad, you need to make sure that when they see that page, when they finally click and land on it, that it's helping people understand who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what they can expect when they do business with you. You've got to build a case. You've got to tell the story. You've got to communicate with power, precision, and passion. If you can do that, you've got a better chance of winning. You've got a better chance of your ad having a high quality score, because Google's going to observe people clicking on it and observe the click-through rate, observe the bounce back rate, observe the completion of form or phone call rate, and it's going to make a difference in your quality score, okay? Generic ads, generic homepage, 5 to 7 score. Most remodelers are failing on at least 2, if not all 3 of these factors. And yeah, it is true, okay? Now, here's what's funny about this. You don't need to have the highest bid, which is weird, but this is where the quality score comes into play. Quality score multiplies your bid. Here's what that means. High quality scores, that should not have an apostrophe, lets lower bidders win top spots, meaning the biggest bid does not automatically win. If you don't understand this, here's what you think. Oh, well, I'll just go in, and if the average bid is $20 for a click, I'll just bid $30 and I'll show up all the time. And then Google's going to look at your crappy landing page and your stupid ad and all the stuff that you're doing wrong and go, no, I'm not going to give this guy clicks even though he's paying more, because ultimately what? The formula is allowing Google to maximize their revenues, okay? The more people that click, the more people find what they're looking for, then Google makes the most money, okay? If you have a low quality score, it's going to force you to overpay just to show up. So I cannot emphasize enough how important this element of quality score is. You've got to focus on this. Now, how do you get to a 9 or a 10? Write ads that perfectly match the search, send traffic to fast, dedicated landing pages, keep ad groups small, only 1 service per group. Now, this is stuff that is helpful for you to understand. I'm not going to take a test or a quiz on this later. I just want you to understand what the principles and process looks like. Add strong call, location, and review extensions. Now, what this means is you got to make it easy for people to call. You saw earlier, I said 64% of searches are on mobile. You've got to have a click to call button. That sounds obvious. It's not always present. You've got to have a good location map on your site so that Google sees precisely where you are. It's going to help it geolocate it. Review extensions so that your reviews are being pulled from Google and put on the page. These are all things that are going to help you get up to a 9 or a 10. I'm going to recommend that you test new ads every 2 to 4 weeks or more often so that you can see which ads are going to pull the best. The result, you're going to pay a lot less, you're going to win more auctions, you're going to get more traffic, you're going to get more clicks, you're going to get them at a lower cost, you're going to get more, leads. That's what you're looking for, and leads lead to sits, and sits lead to sales, okay? But if you don't have the first part, a good quality score, then you're going to struggle. All right, let's move on to number 3 here, which is you're not spending enough money. Okay, now we're going to talk brass tacks. How many times have I had a conversation with a remodeler that said, oh, well, what's the least we can spend? We want to stick our toe in the water and try this. Okay, well, here's the problem. Google's going to stop showing your ads once your daily budget runs out. So let's say you come to me and you say, I want to run $1,000 a month, okay, just to see what happens. Well, that's only $30 a day. That's only 1 or 2 or 3 clicks, depending on what it is you're selling. And you become invisible once your budget runs out. You don't show up. You can't show up because you don't have any budget left. So you might run for an hour, 2, 3 hours a day, probably in the morning, and then it's just freaking gone. There's no money. You don't show up. You don't exist. Peak times, which is evenings and weekends, you not showing up at all. Your impression share is going to shrink, which means the percentage of time that your ad could show that it actually does show, that's your impression share. And if your impression share is small, then guess what? It's not going to work. Okay. Here's what's happening inside of Google. You're going to lose 40 to 80% of your available impressions if you don't have enough budget. Here's what is specifically happening. There's not enough data or test to optimize your ads. So this system inside of Google called smart bidding, it stays stuck in learning mode perpetually forever, and it doesn't ever get optimized. And then the bigger spenders are going to dominate the top spots all day long, and you're just going to lose. So how much money do you need to spend? And the answer, well, for small or medium markets, $2,000 to $4,000 a month minimum. That's to start, okay? That's not where we're trying to end up. That's a starting point. For bigger competitive cities, it's going to be $4,000 to $8,000 to start. Now, people get jammed up on this because they've had so many bad experiences with this before, and they say, you're telling me that if I'm in a larger area, I've got to spend $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, and I don't even have any guarantee that it's going to work? And the answer is correct. Correct. Well, I don't like that, Rich. What I want to hear you say is spend $8,000 and it's guaranteed to work. Well, here's what you've got to understand. The type of agency that you're hiring, which I'm going to go through in a tremendous amount of detail here in just a second, is going to have a big impact on whether or not this is actually working. If you're doing things wrong, then it's going to not work. But if you have a bigger budget, at least you have a better chance of it working. So this is kind of like table stakes. Like, you could have the most wonderful agency in the world, but if your budget's too small, it's still not going to work. On the flip side, you could have a very mediocre agency, and if you have a big enough budget, you can still probably get it to work. I'll show you a case study of that a little bit later. You want to run this proper budget for 60 straight days. The extra spend is almost always going to pay for itself. The goal that you should be thinking is that you want to be spending $10,000 a month plus on monthly spend. You saw earlier a case study, the bath company in the Northeast, $1 million a year. That's $80,000 a month on average. $80,000 a month. Why? Because they're getting leads. Now they're paying too much for those leads, which I'll show you in detail here in just a minute, but that's where you're trying to go. You're trying to capture this demand that is already out there by putting yourself in front of it. You've got to have enough budget so that you're there showing up frequently enough to make it work and make it worthwhile. Okay. Now let's stop down here. Reason number 4, lazy, dishonest, and/or incompetent agencies. Now, here's why I'm going to focus so much on this, because you already know that pay-per-click is not the kind of thing that you can do yourself. And for every guy out there that says, I don't know, we have somebody that's doing it, well, that's because you have an agency caliber person in-house that you've hired to do it. That's rare. For the overwhelming majority of you, this is not something that you should touch yourself with a 10-foot pole. It's too complex. There's too many factors. You don't know how to do it. You're going to get crushed by those who are experts. This is, you ever heard of a guy named Brian Scalabrine? He used to play in the NBA. He was just an average white dude in the NBA who was not particularly good. He was not particularly bad. He was just a guy. He got lucky and he was on an NBA championship team. But the reason I'm bringing him up right now is because he made a video after he was out of the NBA, like, I don't know how long after, maybe 2 to 10 years later. And he said, let me show you what happens when an average NBA player plays against top tier rec players and competitive players. And the video was hilarious because he was going against one-on-one against all these guys who were in their little pools. They were awesome, and he was just destroying them. And he looked at him and said, you know what? I'm closer to LeBron James than you are to me in terms of skill. The point is that if you're trying to do pay-per-click by yourself, you're competing against crappy agencies, decent agencies, but also really good agencies. And these people know exactly what they're doing. And if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you are going to get crushed. You're going to get Brian freaking Scalabrini'd when you get out there on the court with these guys. And then you're going to look up and you're going to say, well, this is stupid and it doesn't work. No, you're just really good at the rec center and on your little recreation team, you ball out. But when you play in the big leagues, you get destroyed. Okay, so now the question is, can we get an agency that actually knows how to do this properly? Because like it says on the screen, most of the agencies out there are either lazy or incompetent or dishonest or a combination of those things. And you say, well, what do you mean dishonest? I'm going to show you what I mean exactly by dishonest, because you might be looking at that thinking, well, that's kind of a hard take, Rich. Just wait, okay? I'm going to show this to you, okay? So let's start with the agency problem. Most agencies look good on the surface. They perform poorly, but they take your money. One of the most expensive SEO problems because it feeds all the others. Because if your agency isn't doing their job right, then your budget is not going to be right, your bidding is not going to be right, your quality score is not going to be right, and it's going to be a problem. So most contractors have been burned at least once. You deserve real expertise and accountability. Your contact. So 4B, see how I've got this here, 4B. This is the second B, 4B. This is the second part of this. Your contact isn't an expert. And here's, I think everybody just knows this from experience. Your account manager doesn't really know that much about pay-per-click. That they're not an experience. They're not experienced. So they're going to follow basic templates, not real strategy. They're going to have too many accounts. They can't even keep up with all of the different accounts that they have. And then somebody else is actually doing the work. Hopefully there's somebody else that actually knows what they're doing the work. But in most cases, not so much. These people can't answer basic questions, and they hope that you never ask the questions because, well, that would mean that they would have to either admit they don't know, or they have to make something up or go find somebody who knows what they're talking about. This is the biggest one, 4C, set it and forget it. Campaign is launched and then it's barely touched. The same ads run for months. There's no testing. There's no landing page iteration. There's no ad iteration. There's no multiple groups of ads being tested. Landing pages are not updated. No adjustments when your cost per click goes up. Your account is just basically on freaking autopilot. Can I get an amen from people who have dealt with this before? Amen. Hallelujah. This is not something to be celebrated. This is what is happening in most cases. Let me show you this, okay? This is what we call the activity log test. And you can do this test with your agency. Ask them to see their activity log. And you say, well, what's activity log? Well, here's what it is. Here's what it shows. It shows it's a log that you just get from Google that shows all the changes that were made on the account. New ad variants, testing cycles, structural changes, strategic decisions. If it looks thin, then that's going to explain your crappy performance. Now, let me show you this. This is an account that we took over about a year ago. This is the activity log for the 2 weeks before we took over the account. Now, this was being managed by another agency, okay? Here's the log, March 1 to March 14th, 2025. So it was almost a year ago. Column A, date and time. Row 4, nothing. User, none. Campaign, none. Ad group, none. Changes, nothing. Nothing was done for 2 weeks. Well, no wonder they were switching agencies, because these guys were freaking doing absolutely nothing. This is not uncommon. Now, here's what it looks like. Change history report, February 9th to February 22nd, 2 weeks. Date and time, user, campaign, vinyl siding, one response search ad, and you can see this is an Excel sheet. It goes down to line 24, and then I just broke it. You can see it goes all the way to line 346. So there was 346 things done on this campaign in a 2-week period of time. Now, you might look at that and say, well, I don't know if those 346 things were the right things or the wrong things or the good things or the bad things. How would I even know that, Rich? And I'm saying to you, well, it's better than this, for crying out loud. And most people don't even know that there is an activity log they can ask for. So ask for it, see what's happening, and see how responsive they've been. Now, I want to move to this. This is where we get into the dishonesty part of it. The dangerous black box. What is a black box? Well, this is when they run your campaign and you have little or none. Let me emphasize the none part of this. No visibility into your actual spender keywords. Now, here's how a pay-per-click campaign should work. Your pay-per-click agency should take your credit card, they should put it into your Google account, your credit card, your Google account, and it should charge all of the ad spend directly to your credit card. That's awesome for you, because if you're killing it and you're doing awesome and you're spending $1 million a year, you're getting $1 million worth of credit card points. So that's just a fun little perk, but that's not the point. The point is, you know exactly how much you're spending with Google because you're seeing it on your freaking credit card. Guess what these black box agencies do? They say, oh no, send us your money. Well, how much money do you want us to send you? Send us $10,000. Okay, what are you going to do with it? We're going to spend it on Google. Okay, how much are you going to spend? All of it? Well, we've got a fee. Well, what's your fee? Well, it's percent. I'm sorry, what did you say? What percent? Well, we said it was percent. Excuse me, I didn't understand you. There was like a breakup on the Zoom here. What was the percent that you charged? Percent. They don't want to tell you. You don't know what they're doing with your money. They could be spending 50%, 40%, 10%. Nobody knows because it's a black box and they're not showing you. And that's exactly the problem. If you don't know how much of your money is actually being spent, let me tell you how much is being spent. Less than you think and not enough, and you're most likely getting screwed. Because here's what I want you to ask yourself. Why on freaking earth would they not show you? Why? Why? And here's another question. Why would they insist that they run all of this inside their account instead of your account? So that they can do nonsensical bullcrap and you'll never know. That's the answer. Huh. You sound pretty fired up about that, Rich. Yeah, I'm fired up about that because one of my best clients right now, we handle hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year of media spend for them. And we're just now unraveling their legacy pay-per-click agencies, and they've got 2 of them, and it's a complete nightmare because they're both black boxes. All we know is how many leads and how much the leads cost, but we don't know actually how much is being spent. They're going to give vague reports with almost no useful data. If you go hit them up for specific data, they won't give it to you. I know, because we ask and they say no. Now, this is also important. You don't know branded versus non-branded split. Well, what's that, Rich? Well, a branded keyword is your company name. If your name is Superior Remodeling and somebody goes to Google and types in Superior Remodeling, then that is considered a branded keyword. Meanwhile, if they go to Google and they type in siding contractors near me, that's considered unbranded, okay? And if you don't know how much is being spent on branded versus non-branded, because it's all inside of a black box and you can't see the data, they're going to be manipulating the data. They're going to be manipulating your spend, not in your favor. They're going to be manipulating it, and guess whose favor? There's 3 parties involved here. Party number 1, you. Party number 2, Google. Party number 3, the agency. Guess which of those 3 parties is going to be getting the bulk of that freaking money? The agency. It's dishonest, it's unethical, it's immoral. That's my opinion. Others might feel differently, and I wouldn't tolerate it. They just say trust the process. Now, let me just help you understand this. Branded is when people are already looking for you, and this is key. If you're spending money on advertising, this becomes particularly important. The more branded searches are going to happen. If you're spending, like my client, over $100,000 a month on TV, there's going to be a ton of people searching for your name on Google. The reason they're searching for your name is because they don't remember your URL. They just go to Google and they go, oh, a Bay State Bath, Jennifer Bilo, how do I find her? And then there's going to be ads show up. And if you, well, let me just go through this. I'm going to show you this in just a second. Non-branded is when people are looking for the service. Okay, if these are not separated, then you're not going to know if pay-per-click is growing or just capturing what the market has already created. Okay, so understand this. Most agencies completely ignore branded keywords. They'll say you already rank #1 organically, your competitors are actively bidding on your name, you lose the highest intent and cheapest traffic. Branded keywords usually are very low cost per lead, high ROI. Good agencies are going to protect your brand aggressively, okay? Rule of thumb, 20% of your budget is going to go to branded keywords. Now, this is a rule of thumb because it's not always going to be exactly that. Here's the variable factor that would make this go up or down. If you're doing literally no external advertising that people will see, then you can do less branded. It could go down to 10% of your budget. If you're doing a lot of if you're doing a lot of advertising, like $100,000 plus a month on TV, then you're going to want to spend even more on branded, because here's what happens. Let me show you what happens. Yesterday, when I was preparing this webinar, I needed to go to our webinar software, which is called GoToWebinar. So I Googled GoToWebinar. You can see it there at the top. This is an actual screenshot from the actual Google search. Look what came up. Sponsored results. Zoom, affordable webinars, webinar pricing, webinar events, solutions. It's a big freaking ad there. All of that is an ad. That is not organic. And then look right below that, Webinar Jam, and then right below that, Riverside. If you keep scrolling down, which I can't because it's a screenshot, then you'll finally see GoToWebinar. All of this crap comes up before the thing that I was actually looking for. This is a perfect example of what happens when you're running a crap ton of money on radio, TV, whatever it is, and people know your name, they see your trucks, they've seen your job site signs, and they go to Google and they say, hey, I want to find Bay State Bath. And then this nonsense happens where 3-4 of your competitors pop up there on paid search. And if you don't pay to be on that search yourself, then you're going to be subject to getting your traffic intercepted by these guys. That's a problem. That's a problem. Now, let's go to problem 4F. I'm still in agencies, okay? Told you I was going to beat these guys up a little bit. They're not accountable to sales. Their success is not measured to jobs closed. They celebrate leads, but they don't really care if the quality is good. They just want to know how many leads. They don't review leads to sales. There's no responsibility when the job cost is too high. Success has to be measured by sits, okay? So could they sit the appointment, and then did it sell? Was it a sale? So here's the professional standard. You want full account ownership. That's non-negotiable. If they say we're going to own the account, then you need to say later and leave. Do not repeat. Do not engage with black box agencies that do not give you full account ownership. You want access to all the raw data, and you want them to be able to show you the raw data and explain it to you. Branded and non-branded have to be separated. I'm over here rubbing my face because I'm just pissed. I'm going to stop down here. I'm going to explain something to you here. Here's what happened with this client. You know what? Hang on. I'm just going to wait because I'm going to give you a case study about it in just a minute. All right. Let's keep going here. I'll jump back to that in just a second. The revenue metrics need to all be available. You need to know exactly how much money is going towards spend versus management fees. Yes, you should pay your agency management fees. Of course, they need to make money for doing their job. If they're good at it, then they're going to earn every penny. But if you don't know how much is going to spend, that's a big problem, okay? The fix, also structured iteration, the standard, you want ongoing ad testing, landing page refinements, testing, search term mining, keyword pruning, budget reallocation based on performance. If there's no evolution, then you can't scale this up. Now, you can discover this by doing what? Remember what I talked about earlier? Asking for the activity log. Let me see what you're doing. Even if you don't know what you're looking at on the activity log, request it so you can at least see that they're doing freaking something, okay? Something. All right, now here's the case study that I was so pissed about a minute ago. All right, this is Jennifer Bilo. This is her daughter. I'm gonna play this commercial for you. I want you to watch it.
Not really local at all. Bought out by big profit-driven Wall Street firms. Hi, I'm Jennifer Bilo, owner of Bay State Bath, a truly local company right here on the South Shore. We use better products and work harder to satisfy you because we answer to you, not Wall Street. Right now, save $1,500 or pay nothing for 18 months. Bay State Bath, remodeling your bath in just one day.
Whoops. All right, so what do you notice about these guys on this commercial, beginning, middle, end? We've got Jennifer who owns this company. We've got her 2 daughters that are involved in the business. We got baby Richie there, who's kind of a de facto little mascot for the company. They've got a just one day tagline, and Jennifer is in all of her commercials. She's been doing this for 20 years plus. In Boston, people know her because she has dominated their television for literally 2 decades. And now she's dominating their OTT streaming television thanks to Level 10 Contractor. A little quick plug there. Now, that's good. Why am I showing you this? Well, because this is what their website looks like. We just built this website. It just launched. Go to baystatebath.com. You can look at this. Boston's South Shore, no nonsense bathroom remodeler. We've got Jennifer right here. Why? Because we want to make sure that when people come to this website, they go, oh yeah, this is that website. Let me show you what their landing page looks like with their current pay-per-click. This is their current landing page. Now, this is a black box agency that I've been talking to you about, which again, in my opinion, is unethical, it's immoral, and it's not honest. So first of all, they've got this generic ass page that you can't tell is Jennifer Bilo, who's on every single commercial. Her face has been there for 2 decades. And for some reason, when you go to this page, you don't immediately go, oh yeah, that's her. That's the dumbest thing I can ever. That's not the dumbest thing, because the dumbest thing is that this is black box. Now, let me tell you what's happening here. This is the part that I was rubbing my face and getting really mad about earlier. Here's what's happening with this agency. Because it's black box, we don't know what percentage of these leads that are coming in are from branded keywords versus non-branded keywords. So they've got a $564 cost per lead across all leads. Now think about this for a minute. Do you know how much your lead should cost if you're doing a lot of advertising from branded keywords? Answer, those leads should come in at no more than $100. Here's why. The quantity of companies that are bidding on those keywords is relatively small. So for example, if you're in Boston and you're bidding on the keyword bathroom remodeling, there's probably 100 to 200 to 300 or 400 companies bidding on those keywords. It's very competitive. The cost per click goes up, the cost per lead goes up. It's expensive. It's doable, but it's expensive. If your quality score is good, those costs come down, but it's still expensive. Okay, that's just the nature of the beast. I told you earlier, and number one reason was that it's hyper competitive. You've got to get the quality score, and you've got to what was the other thing? Have the right budget, okay? Now, understand this. If you're spending that kind of money, how many companies out of those 200, 300, 400 companies are bidding on the keyword Bay State Bath? Well, here's what we know. Bay State Bath is bidding on it through their agency, but they've got 2 agencies. So first of all, you've got 2 agencies bidding on the same keyword, which is going to drive it up. Why would you do that? And the answer is because you didn't know any better, because the agencies told you it wasn't a problem. It is a problem. Number 2, question, how many of the other companies besides Bay State Bath are bidding on their company name, Bay State Bath? And the answer is a small subset of the 200, 300, 400 that are bidding on bathroom keywords. Let's say that it's the most intelligent 20 companies. Now, the reason I say most intelligent is because it is smart to be bidding on keywords that are company names that are prolific and well-known in the marketplace, okay? That's smart. It's not illegal. It's not unethical. We also bid on their biggest competitors. They've got Jacuzzi in their market that is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on media in that market alone. So we actually bid on Jacuzzi's name. That's just smart. The smartest agencies will do that, but it's still a small subset. So here's what I need you to understand. How much do you think keywords are going to cost on a bidding basis if there's 20 people bidding on it versus 300 people bidding on it? Answer, a lot less. And because we're going to have more domain authority, because we are actually Bay State Bath, guess what's going to happen? The cost per click on those clicks is going to be very, very low. So your cost per lead should be somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 to $100 for branded keywords. And you say, well, I don't know if I want to spend $50 to $100 on clicks that were people looking for me that will just find me in organic, because I'm certainly going to come up first in organic for my own name. But again, remember the example I showed you with the webinar and Zoom hogging up that real estate and people inadvertently clicking on the wrong thing, knowing they want you, but accidentally clicking on your competitor. Again, it's not immoral or unethical. It's just a thing. And if it sounds like I'm going on and on about this, it's because it's upsetting. And the reason it's upsetting is because it happens all the time. And so now here's the final part of this. They're charging $564 per lead, but what if it's only $100 for those branded leads? And because of all the money that they're spending, most of the leads that are coming in are actually branded We don't actually know because they can't tell us, because they won't show us because it's in a black box. But here's what that means. That means that they can actually inflate the cost of those non-branded leads. They might be $1,000 each, being offset each one of those by a $100 branded lead with an average cost of $564, which is okay and it works for our client. But in reality, 65% of the leads that are coming in should only cost $100. Do you see the problem? But it's all inside a black box, so nobody knows. So we've got to go in and we've got to unwrangle that. We've got to run tests against it. And it's a giant monumental pain in the butt. But guess what? It must be done, because the amount of money that could be wasted going to these agencies that are ripping you off could be literally tens of thousands of dollars a month forever in perpetuity that should be going to ad spend to get you more leads. Also, guess what happens when you've got multiple agencies working on your behalf, bidding on the same keywords? If you don't have enough budget going, your impression share for your own company name should be 95 to 100%, meaning 95 to 100% of the time when somebody searches your name, you should be the first paid result that shows up. But if it's only 20 to 30%, and guess what? We did arm wrestle out of this agency. What is our forgot what the word is all of a sudden. What is our impression share? Thank you, Rich. What is our impression share for branded keywords? They said 40%. It's way too low. They're not even showing up for their own freaking name. All of this money that they're spending on advertising is getting intercepted by their competitors because of incompetence and greed of the agency. There, my TED Talk is now over. Let's keep moving. Okay, so this is what the new landing page looks like. Guess who's on the front of the page? Freaking Jennifer Bilo, that's who. Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk about if this is the right thing for you to do. Is it time for you to up your pay-per-click game? I'm going to offer you something called the pay-per-click reality audit, where we can expose what's happening now, optimize and dominate. Do you recognize even one of these things? Do you have black box management happening? Lack of reporting or no reporting, no link to sales, nobody's paying attention to if these leads are actually converting, stagnant structure. Again, remember the activity logs, constant budget anxiety, then your pay-per-click is structurally misaligned. It needs to be found out. Now, I'm going to give you an opportunity with this QR code to request a pay-per-click reality audit, okay? If you want to keep sitting on the sidelines, spending and hoping, guessing, trusting blind summaries, or you can face it directly. Most contractors delay this by 12 to 24 months while they're trying to figure it out. You probably should take action. Here's the reality audit. It's not a sales pitch. It's not a generic consultation. It's forensic evaluation. We're going to look at who owns your account, you or somebody else. That's going to be red flag number one. We want to know if the spend is transparent or not. That's going to be number two. What is the split between branded and non-branded? Is your agency protecting your brand? Are they letting you even know what the ratio is? We want to see if revenue is being tracked, and we want to see the iteration history. So we'll walk through all of this with you. Like it says on the screen, this is a forensic evaluation. This is how you're going to find out if you're getting it done right or not. Also, if your budget is in line with your ambition or not. There's only 3 outcomes from the reality audit. Number 1 is we're going to say it's healthy. Keep rock on, keep going. Number 2, it's under optimized, so you could use some suggestions. We'll give those to you. Number 3, it's structurally flawed. Those are the only 3 options that are going to happen from this audit. You're going to leave knowing which one it is, 1, 2, or 3. That's worth more than another month of guessing. So I'm going to encourage you to take advantage of this. This is for contractors who are spending $3,000 plus a month, or who would scale to that level if they were confident that it would actually work. If you intend to grow towards $10,000 plus in controlled ad spend, then this is for you. If you care about revenue instead of vanity metrics, then this is something you should do. If you're looking for cheap autopilot, then don't book it. It's not the right thing for you. So that's what I have for you today. I don't want to go into too much detail on some more technical kinds of things. I could, but I'm going to leave it right there. I am going to open this up right now for questions. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take those. You can just go into the questions or chat, and I will take those right now. Let's do it. Questions. I don't know if you do questions or chat. I'll open them both up. All right. I see currently no questions. That means that I must have done such a phenomenal job of explaining this that nobody has any questions. If you do have questions, feel free to enter them into the chat or into the question box on your console right now. Let's do this. Come on. There we go. Have you seen success with Performance Max? Mostly no, Casey asks. Performance Max tends to be extraordinarily crappy quality of leads. There are some exceptions to that. So there are some situations, but we always put Performance Max at the very, very, very back of the line and get to it after we feel like we've optimized the core offering. Joe wants to know, can you get a copy of this recording? Yes, we'll send that out to you, no problem. Thanks for that question, Joe. Any other questions? Any other questions? This is where you ask your questions. Here we go. What is your opinion of LSA? My opinion of LSA, it is amazing. It's good. Try it, do it. Make sure that you go, I mean, you got to jump through a lot of hoops to get approved for LSA. It's worth jumping through them. And then you're going to really just run tests to see how many leads you can get and what quality leads you can get. In my experience, this is kind of a hit or miss jackpot kind of a thing. We've got some clients where it works well, they get good lead flow, they're high quality, others where it's not. So I'm all for trying it, Cindy, but I can't say for sure. There's too many elements that are out of our control. With pay-per-click, we have a lot more control over the elements. Therefore, I feel a lot more confident saying that we can get good results. Also have, okay, the questions are rolling in. I guess it just takes people a minute to get on the question bandwagon here. Hey, I just got hired for a roofing company in upstate New York. Is there a way we can work together? Yes, fill out the thing on the QR code that's on your screen right now and set an appointment. You'll talk to Ryan Hill and he'll see what's what and talk to you about whatever you need to talk to. And you said your name was Trent, Trent Ventures? Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's Trent. Okay, next. How are you doing with roofers? Bill Thomas wants to know. Answer, we're doing well. Roofing is a weird thing. It's a kind of a grudge purchase. It tends to spike when there's weather. I think everybody knows that. That's not surprising. You want to make sure that you're always well positioned ahead of time so that when the weather hits, that you can lean into it. You want to have a way to dynamically increase your budget in those situations. But just during normal times, there's a normal amount of demand for searches. So whatever searches are available at a given time, yeah, we have good success with that. John, how do you grow this? How do you grow to this spend? I'm always a crawl, walk, run kind of a guy. If you came to me and said, give me, I want to spend $10,000 a month right out of the gate, we've got to optimize first. So we want to make sure we have enough spend that we can get enough impression share, but then we've got to work that quality score up over the first couple months, okay? So you don't just start out with automatically high quality score. You've got to work through that, and it just takes a little bit of time. We've got to try different ads. We've got to try different landing pages. This is where the rapid iteration comes into play. So after about 90 days, realistically, you should have a pretty good idea of what's working, what's not working. Obviously, always be trying new things. You'll hear me with a very similar a similar principle next month on the webinar when we talk about paid search, because rapid iteration is where it's all about on paid search, even, and I'm talking about like Facebook, even more so than on pay-per-click. But yeah, this is something where you just want to get proof of concept, make sure your quality scores are high, then you can add more budget, add more budget, add more budget. At some point, you're gonna run out of clicks to buy, okay? But you know, a lot of times people run out of clicks to buy and they say, oh, well, you know, there's just, I can't spend more than $7,000. Well, that's because your quality score is not high enough and your impression share is too low. If you could get your impression share from 30% to 50% or 60% or 70%, now you've got proportionally that many more clicks that you can be buying, which is what you want. I mean, pay-per-click is one of these things where you want to spend as much as humanly possible. Like if you can spend $200,000 a month on high quality, low cost quotable leads, that would be fantastic. It's just going to be a matter of how much traffic exists in the ecosphere of Google and making sure that you're getting in front of it. And so it's going to take a little bit of time. Thanks for that question, John. Greg Cole asked, can you hire a company other than your SEO to run pay-per-click? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you hire a company other than your SEO company to run pay-per-click? I don't know if you mean me, my company, Level 10, or if you're talking about just generically your agency. Maybe Greg, you can clarify that. But not all SEO companies do pay-per-click, and not all pay-per-click companies do SEO. All of the ones that do them are not good. Some of them are, some of them aren't. You want to evaluate them based on what we talked about today. So I'm not sure, Greg, if you want to offer a little bit more context for that question, I can circle back to it. Meanwhile, let me go to Jonathan, his question. What is your opinions of bid strategies like max conversions other than semi-automatic campaigns versus managing Google ads manually? Anytime you turn it over to automatic, then you've got to keep close eyes on it. That's all I can say, because we've seen campaigns in the past where the automated bidding, max conversions leads to less than desirable outcomes. Now, I'm not saying that max conversions is bad. I'm saying it's something you need to keep a very, very careful eye on. But typically, there's going to be a part of it that is automated, but what you're going to be doing is looking over its shoulder and then making manual adjustments to the campaigns as you go, okay? Let's see, last question, unless Greg, if you can give me more context before we're done, I can give you perhaps a better answer. John, last question says, so smaller companies should not look at Google until they reach a certain sales volume. No, I didn't say that. I said that until they have a certain amount of budget available. Okay, so if you're a very small company, you've got to make sure that you don't impose a small budget on Google just because you're small. So if you're a small company and you say, yeah, we're in a large metropolitan area here, we can come in with a budget of, what did I say earlier, 4,000 to 8,000 to test and get it up to 10,000, you can absolutely run as a smaller company. It's just a matter of a lot of times the smaller companies just simply don't have that budget available, and then you're in a bad spot. So yeah. Okay, did not hear back from Greg. I assume that we covered it well enough there. I think that's all we got for you today, folks. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon.